I've been soaking this hank of Border Leicester yarn, which I bought from a lovely lady from Shapinsay, who was at a craft fair the other week, and I promised that I would try and dye it and see what it would come out like, because I've been carding Cheviot fleece. So I just wanted to see if it reacted the same, you know, it got the same vibrancy of colour. So I've made up another colour called Pansy Pink, and I've got the dark heather that I made last week. I've made up a jug of citric acid. Now in this jug I have about half a litre, to which I added about 6 teaspoons of citric acid. I also need my syringe. Now the syringe, 100ml syringe, is going to put the colour onto the yarn. So I'm going to try and do a kind of stripe effect. I have no idea how this is going to come out, because this is all new to me. I've just been watching videos. So I've got, as you can see, I've just got a little water, and I've been soaking this. So I'm hoping we will get some, you know, something out of this. And what my other worry is I'm going to have a lot of white underneath. So I'm going to have to work out how I'm going to do that. Okay, so to start with, I need to put in my citric acid. So I'm going to put a cup of citric acid in there. So at the moment I have 2 cups. It's in hot water. So I'm going to put the cup in. I'm just going to, so just not too much floaty. Let's have a look what we've got left. We could put a little bit more in. So that will do, I think. A bit scared of citric acid is what kind of gets the dye to cling to the yarn. This is what reacts to it, what the colour reacts to. Cooking obviously is good, which I explained last week. So I'm just going to give that a little and hope that the acid just move it around a little bit so that the acid gets into everywhere. There you go. I want it slightly out because I don't want it floating like I did the other last week, because I want the dye to strike the yarn. That's what they call it, strike the yarn. So here we go. I've got 100 grams of yarn. So I'm going to do, I'm just getting 100 mils up. For the moment. In fact, actually I'm going to do 50 because it's half of what the half the yarn. So I'm going to do some, well, I might do some splodges instead of stripes. So let's see how we do. 2, 3, 4. A little splodge there. Let's squeeze another 50ml out or thereabouts. Let's squeeze a bit in there, a bit in there, a bit in there, a bit in there, a bit in there. Yeah, squatch there. So now I'm just putting it inside, see, with the nozzle of my syringe. I want it to go through. This will be exciting if it works. And that should get the dye to the bottom of the casserole dish, the pan, whatever equipment you're using. Okay. Do I want to use any more of that? No, I'm going to keep that. Just put that in there for the moment. I've been using my washing cup again, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with my washing cup afterwards. Another experiment. So I've got a little drop left for another dye. Another dyeing day. So you see what's happening to this pan at the moment? Yeah. I think there's going to be white in it, but I don't mind that because this is going to be extraordinarily vibrant. I'm thinking, now this is my pansy pink. You see the saturation in that. So here goes again. So I'm squeezing out another 50ml. Now the reason I'm doubling is because I want a vibrant colour. Now let's see what happens here. Another 50ml. In the white bits. See, I'm covering the white bits. Now again, I'm going to do the same thing and let that pink go in there. Now it's going to bleed. You can tell, aren't you? It's going to bleed into each other. But because I put the citric acid in first, I am really hoping that it will strike the yarn and take it up straight away. We'll soon see. Now I want this to go through to the back. I'm not sure whether it will or not. So I'm squeezing that into the bottom. See, I'm going to have a bit of white, but I don't mind that. I think that's going to give it a nice effect. I do hope this comes out nicely. I'm looking forward to it. There we go. So we've got a kind of a darker and a pinker version. And I'm just going to wash my right. Now, rightly or wrongly, I'm going to just leave that for about 5 or 10 minutes. put this syringe in there, put my lid on. I'm just going to wait a little minute or two, see what happens. Do I want to put any more citric acid in? Do you think I need to? Don't know. I hate waste and I don't want to put that down the sink. So I'm adding a bit of that. Water to my water. You can see the colours moving around as well, which is quite interesting. If you particularly want to. You see, it's taken the colour up already, but I'm wanting a blend, a nice blend. So I'm just adding a little bit to it. There you go. Now the citric acid that I've got left, I'm going to pour into another jar for another time and label how much I've got. So I've got 1 cup, which will do another one of these. So I will now put this in the oven at 100 degrees fan for about 20 to 30 minutes and give it a check and then leave it to cool down for as long as possible. Like I did the other day, about probably even 5 hours until it's cool, and then we'll see what it's like, because we'll wash it and then we will rinse it, and then we will leave it to dry naturally. That's what I normally do. Stretch it, I think, a bit as well. I think that's what we need to do. Now see that top bit there, I'm just going to push that under a little bit. I think this is going to be all right. I can see where there's the darker pieces and the pinky pieces. I'm looking forward to this one. Last week we made the 4 colours. So you need 4 cups of very hot water plus 2 teaspoons of dye for each colour. Cyan is represented by the hot turquoise by Jacquard. Number, let me just get that down, Jacquard number 624 turquoise. The magenta is 4 cups of very hot water with 2 teaspoons of dye. Magenta is the hot fuchsia 620 by Jacquard. Yellow, 4 cups of very hot water plus 2 teaspoons of dye, is 601 sun yellow. And black, 4 cups of very hot water plus 2 teaspoons of dye, is 639 jet black in Jacquard. As you note, I made a note that 0.5 ounce of dyes dyes up to 2 pounds of fibre in each case. The citric acid recipe is here. 4 litres of warm water, 2/3 of a cup of citric acid. Shake bottle well to combine and before use. High concentrate patterned or speckled designs need 2 cups per 600 grams. Lower concentrate for solid colours, 1 cup per 600 grams. Calculations. 1 millilitre of dye is equal to 1 gram of yarn. There again, I've put in what you need for light, medium and dark tones and the acid weight that you need. A little other note I made to myself was less than 3% dye per pound of fibre creates a pastel colour. 5% dye per pound of fibre creates a medium colour, and 8% dye per pound of fibre creates a dark saturated colour. There's a lot of information there, but it's stuff that I've gleaned from research, and the best person to go and look for this is Essence of Autumn Yarns. I think that's who it is. Canadian dyer, and she does a course on basic dye techniques, which I watched very closely, and from which I gleaned a lot of this information. So I'm now just testing that out with my own dye ranges. As I said, I've got a shade card that I'm working on using hex codes and then converting to a dye code, basically. There is a calculation for that, and I was thinking of showing you how to do that. Perhaps that might be better in another video, so I'll do part 3 of the video. And soon I shall be going to do some spinning lessons, and then I think I prefer to actually dye the yarn. Anyway, I better go and see how my yarn is cooking.